What's up YouTube? Welcome to the channel. So in this video we are going to be going through an important subject, and that is plastering in extreme heat. Now in the UK at the moment we are going through a bit of a heat wave, at least a heat wave for us. At the moment it's cruising around the 26 to 30 degree mark, and it's been like that for a couple of weeks. Now for plasterers that's an absolute nightmare. It's extremely hot, very sweaty, the plaster is going off really quick, you can't seal the walls, trying to get a good finish is difficult, put any meterage on, it is not easy. In this video we're just going to go through a few tips to make your life easier so you can get through to the end of the day in one piece while still producing quality work. So we hope you enjoy the video, consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. Tip number one, and it is probably one of the most important, and that is to make sure that you stay hydrated. Yes, we are not talking about, I just remember drinking a lot of water. We're talking have the water in the room there with you. During the day, you can end up sweating out 2, 3, 4 litres of water throughout the day. This will make your stamina significantly worse if you're not drinking considerable amounts of water to help you get through the day. So tip number one, make sure you have boatloads of water on hand for you to continually be hydrating. Even if you think you're not thirsty, just keep drinking because you will be sweating it out like something chronic. Tip number two, and it sounds like a silly one, is to have a spare shirt. Yes, when we are working in this kind of heat, I change my t-shirt halfway through the day. Now I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not a massive fan of plastering with a shirt off. I don't think it looks that great. Personally, I have done it from time to time. This is an empty house, so sometimes we have taken our shirts off, but generally if I'm working in someone's house, I stay clothed. I know some plasterers like to plaster with absolutely nothing on. That's not my bag personally. So have a change of shirt, change it halfway through the day. You'll be amazed at how nice that feels. Tip number three, and again, it's a small thing, but it's a comfort thing, and that is have a towel with you. When you're sweating to the degree that we are talking about, just being able to wipe the sweat off your head, off your arms, etc., so forth, it makes a big difference to your comfort during the day. If you are comfortable, it's going to do so much more for your mental game, which is going to help you power through difficult sets. So as well as having a change of a t-shirt, have a towel that you're designating just to wipe sweat off you. That is a big thing that makes life so much more comfortable throughout the day. Tip number four, and it's an obvious one but some people forget, and that is to make your sets a little smaller. In this heat, walls are pulling in so much faster, so quite often it's far better to do 2, 3, 4 or even 5 much smaller sets, maybe one bag sets that are way more manageable, that will go off significantly faster. You'll get a much nicer finish because it's so much easier to control. So tip number four, make your sets even smaller than you would normally. Don't consider smashing on huge meters, and it will make getting through the day a hell of a lot easier. Tip number five is to consider using products which are designed to slow down the plaster. So things like Slow Set, and then there's another one which I can't remember what it's called, but there are two main sachets which are available which will slow the plaster drying and going off so quickly. I forget how much these sachets are, but they're pretty readily available in a lot of building merchants and also Amazon, etc., so forth. That will make your plaster a lot more manageable, especially if you're not particularly fast at putting the plaster on. Tip number six is consider starting your working day slightly earlier. Yes, it tends to be at its hottest in the UK from around about 11:30 till about 2:30, and then the temperature starts to drop either side. But if you can do some of your bigger sets early in the morning when the sun isn't at its worst, that'll make your life a lot easier. Another tip which will make your life a little bit easier, and that is consider opening the windows to let some of the heat out, but also cover over the top of the windows. Yes, when sun is raking through the windows, if you put a sheet or something over the glass to cover the sunlight coming in, that'll dramatically drop the heat of the room that you are working in. That will make life a little bit easier. That way you can open the window, not worry about any kind of breeze coming through and drying the walls too quickly. Let some of that heat out and stop the heat coming back in through the glass. Final tip that we're going to suggest today, which again will make your life a bit easier, is when you are applying your plaster, flatten as you go. Now, if you're efficient at applying the plaster, you can do this with a trowel. However, if you're a bit scruffy applying the plaster, try using something like your spat. So once you've done apply the plaster on the wall, even if it's a small one, flatten it first before you move on. That way, if the plaster dries a little bit too fast, at least you haven't got to take out tram lines from the trowel because you've already done it when the plaster was workable. So there are just a few tips to help you get through the day. Let's get cracking with this wall and see how we get on.